timer on transmission lengths, and as always, we appreciate those of you out there listening who do not have licenses, and we would encourage you to think about getting a license and joining us. There's always room for more, and maybe some of those licensed lurkers will check in today. We'll see. Okay, first, a pondering, a musing. I think it was yesterday, Joan and I were lurking for Kevin's Sunday net. Maybe it was Saturday. I can't remember. But anyway, the weather lady at the top of the hour said that it was 1 degree, I believe. So anyway, that got me thinking. So on degrees, but why is it when you have a zero, you say 0 degrees, and why not 0 degrees? So that's your pondering. But the question of the day is, did you or did anyone in your family save really big newspaper headline editions? You know, the Dewey wins, moon landing, any of those kind of big newspaper headlines. Did you save that issue of the newspaper? Or any other editions that you might remember? Tell us about them. Okay, let's look for, and we're going to do things differently today because Bob on Saturday made things work so well. We're going to try it today. We're going to get all the check-ins, and then we'll start the transmissions. But first, we'll get the check-ins from short time on their way to work, or people who are mobile and feel they'll soon be out of range of the repeater. Please check in now.
Alpha Bravo 9, November.
Okay, we've got Kevin, KA9ARZ, and John, AB9NN. We've got 4 people currently on. To join us this morning, please check in now.
This is Kilo Alpha Niner, Whiskey Alpha Romeo. A9BXG. W9OBD. No, it's F.
AC9, KMA.
W9, LON Portable Crossband. AG9B. Kilo Delta 9 Golf Delta Alpha.
Okay, I'll just go from ECHOLINK straight on through. So, ECHOLINK is K9GU Michelle, then Kilo Bravo 9 Delta India Papa Larry, over then to Alan G1AU, then to Brad Kilo Delta 9 Uniform Papa Echo. Then Artie KA9WAR, Bob KA9BXG, Rick W9OBB, Larry N9OSF, Trusty Sidekick Joan KC9KMA, Luke W9LON, Damien AG9P, and Josh KD9GDA. Did I miss anybody? Okay, up to Kevin, KA9ARZ, then John, AB9NN. John, you turn it over to Michelle, K9GU. Go ahead, Kevin. Good morning. This is KC9GBX Monday Net Control on the W9DOR Good Morning Net, Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin.
Thanks, Jeff. KC9GBX. This is KA9ARZ. Very good morning to all on the, I guess you could say, the start. KA9ARZ. Yeah, apparently, yeah, the battery dropped out. Returning there, so, yeah. There already, temperature hovering in the 20s, and I was heading back and forth to the morning at the Y. Yeah, related to the question today, have various issues of newspapers, probably like me, related to the Packers winning the Super Bowl or various other events, and of course, newspapers I wrote articles in have a collection of those. I think, long story short, got a lot of storage containers full of them over the years there. So, anyways, full day of work in store, and be shooting action photos at a basketball game tonight in the southern part of the county. Speaking of action photos, sent Rick some more action photos, so have plenty of them to archive from past ham radio events there to have a link online or what have you there. So let's see how things are on the other side of the lake with AB9NN from KA9ARZ. Good morning. Hi, good morning to everybody on the Good Morning Net from John, AB9NN in Beulah, Michigan, northwest border of Michigan, straight across the pond from Algoma, 9 miles inland. And got a strong S9 on the repeater this morning. Everybody sounding loud and proud as usual. Let's see, answer the question of the day right off before I forget. I have saved a few newspapers very sparingly. My dad was written up in the Iron River Reporter for having served 50 years at the Minor State Bank in Iron River, and I had a nice article about him, so save that. Also, the Investors Business Daily, back around the year 2000 or so, 2001, 2002, had a very nice, large, full-page chart of the bear market, comparing the bear market of that time to the 1930s Depression-era bear market. I thought that would be an interesting historical perspective to save, so I saved that. I also saved an article that was written about me. I won second place for Voice of Democracy speech in high school when I was in speech class. Also, our Sea Scout troop was written up when we went to Bay Jammers one year in Marinette, Menominee, because we were always the first scout troop to make camp at Bay Jammers. We were always the first to erect our tents, and we got a nice article written up about ourselves, so I did save those, but haven't saved a lot of others. A lot of stuff is available on the internet these days, so you can research things back into history without having to save things. Let's see, let me break for reset. Okay, and let's see, checking the weather, 30.1 degrees with a west-southwest wind at 12 miles an hour, and looks like the southern half of lower Michigan is covered in precipitation. Nothing for us currently. We're supposed to get a little precipitation passing through today, so nothing major expected. Tomorrow might be a little bit more precipitation. And supposed to be a nice warming trend, supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be 32 degrees today, so that should be nice. Solar flux index is 179, so that's pretty good reading for the solar flux index, and certainly nothing on the lightning map, so that's a good thing. With that, I guess it's over to net control from AB9NN. John and Beulah, have a great day, everyone.
Go ahead, Michelle. K9GU, Michelle, go ahead.
In Appleton in here, there were some couple of scratches in here this morning, so I'm not sure I got everything correctly. Anyway, in Appleton in here, the temperature is at 25, the barometric pressure at 30.08, and the humidity outside is 74% in here. Anyway, the big event in here is Saturday. One of our sons came from Seattle, and he's going to be here for several days in here, which is very nice. He looks great, and he is behaving very, very nicely in here. That's about all the news I have right now. So I'll pass it on to the next station in here, and I missed some of it in here because of the scratching in here. This is K9GU. Good morning to all in here.
What are you? Just that I got it. What are you? Southwest in England. Well, good morning, everybody on the net. Good morning, America. How are you? Here goes Central. But sorry, I tell you, note on our past Saturday. Here goes Central. So, temperature here is 51. 28 miles an hour wind. 79.31 on the barometer, 71% on humidity. So, we had a big storm yesterday evening. Luckily, we didn't get a rather big deal. There's something close that is Cornwall, Wales, North of England, and Scotland are some of the highest winds ever recorded in Britain. In fact, they cancel all the trains in Scotland. And as soon as the car's running now, and I got a report of a train leaving Geneva in Switzerland to a successful down to Bristol on the southwest of England. He couldn't land and had to go up north to Scotland, 300 miles away, and land at Edinburgh. So I've been around so many people without a connected name, and not of trees on come down. Anyway, there it is.
Don't have the ECHOLINK board in front of me, but let's go to Larry, KB9ZIP. Larry, turn it over to Brad, KD9UP.
Address. 192.168.1.28. Weather alert on. Good morning. The time is 8:18 a.m. Weather conditions. Cloudy. Temperature 22 degrees.
We'll see whether we can break this little ECHOLINK log jam. We'll see if Larry, KB9DIP, can come through. The monitor is showing Alan still transmitting, but we'll see if Larry, DIP, can come in. Go ahead, give it a try, Larry.
KB9DIP here. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Am I coming through out there?
Yep, really good signal. Go ahead, Larry.
Thank you, Jeff. You're going to have to help me out. I don't know who comes next. This is Larry, KB9DIP in Algonquin, 45 miles northwest of Chicago, and just across the pond of Crystal Lake. It's really a lake. And I call it a pond because it's cute. At any rate, what have I got? I got more Masonic funerals to go to today. That's too bad. Football season ended. Exchanged pleasantries with my friends up in Sister Bay. Lamented the passing of another season. And being a Chicago Bears person, we mouthed the words, wait till next year. That's the mantra. Only in Chicago, I mean it. And that's about it. It's the sun's out. It looks nice up here in the Chicago area. Got to do a little bit of shopping. Then I'm on my way for the day. Hello to Alan. And hello to Michelle. And my pal, Ernie. But let's see who's next. Jeff, take it away. KB9DIP clerk.
Well, we'll see. The list has changed itself. Brad, KD9UPE, has dropped off of ECHOLINK. So maybe he will come up on regular RF. So we'll continue on to Artie, KA9WAR, then Artie over to BXG and so on. And then after GDA, we will see if Brad is hanging around. Go ahead, Artie. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Jeff, and good morning, everyone. This is KA9WAR here in Prestigo, and we have 26 degrees and it's sort of a hazy sun. But anyway, it's going to be a nice day. To answer your question, I gave a lot of my savings to my grandson a couple of years ago, and I did have at that time an edition from 1918 showing the end of World War II. Also along with that, World War I, and also along with that, auditioned with one with the end of the war and World War II. Also, just recently, a year or so ago, on the front page of the Mexico Times, they did give me quite a bit of spacing, indicating my 100th year. And the editor and the assistant over here and interviewed me for over an hour. But anyway, today is a day I long remember. I was waiting for a long time. This morning I worked my last worked all state capitals, Lansing, Michigan, and I started that over 20 years ago. Now I can concentrate on getting my worked all world capitals in order. We have over 100 so far and counting. K8IBXT, this is K8IWR. Good morning, Bob.
Well, congratulations, Artie. That's quite a feat. And do I save much? Not really. I got a few articles here and there from some from my dad, a few from me, but not much. Got back yesterday from went to a big basketball game on Saturday night. Bad thing is they lost, but they only lost by, I think it was 2 points. So it wasn't that bad. And the loss is still a loss, but that's all right. She had fun. That was the good part. And it was cold. I'm sick of this cold. I'm glad it's starting to warm up a little bit. Haven't been feeling the greatest, so feeling a little bit better today. 10 hours of sleep yesterday really makes a difference, I guess. And let's see. I guess that's really, obviously, Artie, you got everything working over there again. I was wondering if you could get it to work. So I'll send it over to Rick, OBB K9BXG.
The National Weather Service has cleared all watches, warnings, and advisories.
Well, thank you. Now I won't lose any sleep over that. Thank you, Bob. K9BXG W9OBB, Green Bay. And good morning to all. It's, let's see, about 24 degrees here with a 16-degree wind chill, and I'm not sure why we say 0 degrees and 1 degree. But anyway, I guess that's just what's fallen in place. And I was going to mention, my mind isn't made up yet about going through the short time and then the ECHOLINKers and then the VHF, and it seems to kind of defeat the whole purpose of having short time check-ins. If we don't get to them right away, I don't even know why we need short time stations. So I think I will continue to put them at the top and let them go right off in case they're on their way out the back door. I realize that isn't always the case, but nevertheless, if it's going to be short time, I think we should take them right off the top. That's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. Let's see. Question of the day. Well, I have definitely the moon landing, 1969, and let's see, 23rd of July, and then I have the launch of the first space shuttle, which I covered as a incognito news reporter. I was actually an engineer at the television station, but I spent a week at the Cape covering that, so I have that issue. And then also the Challenger disaster and the Columbia accident. I also have those as well. And that I keep on hand. Let's see, what else? Did I say 9/11? I also have the 9/11 copy of the newspaper for posterity. Let's see, the two granddaughters came over yesterday, and and my daughter and my son-in-law and I, we went out in my heated garage, and we waxed his new 10-year-old Maserati that he purchased recently, and he really got that baby shining up. Man, what a beautiful, beautiful car that is. And let me pause. Okay, and I'm not so sure, but I'm wondering if Alan exceeded the 3-minute and 15-second timeout on ECHOLINK, because when stations, if we happen to lose the internet at exactly the right time, that system can stay latched up. So I built a timer that monitors the transmission length, and then we go and reset that whole system, and that's going to kick everyone off. So it'd be interesting to hear if people had to log back in or not. I'm not certain that's what actually happened. I wasn't really paying attention to the clock, but I was just wondering if that was the case, because if the timeout is exceeded on ECHOLINK, it's definitely going to shut down and reboot, and I believe that'll kick. Well, I know that'll kick everybody off, so I'm wondering if that didn't happen. And when you experience something like that, you have to remember to hit the refresh button on your Supermon 2 monitor screen. All right. Congratulations, Artie. What an accomplishment. Really cool. Okay, I better hand it off to Larry here before we lose the rest of the list. N9OSF, this is W9OBB. Good morning to all.
W9OBB, N9OSF. Here it's 19 degrees. Sun is kind of shining, but it's still quite too high clouds right now. I was watching the pack game last night. Good game, but it would have been nice if they would have won yesterday. So that's what we did. Oklahoma, Randy came over, did side-by-side with baseball and that, so we did. So otherwise, today, I worked around the house, trying to downsize stuff yet. You got both her house and my house, I'm trying to downsize a little bit. That's what I'm trying to do right now. So, fair enough. Outside, I said so many times, stuff that's too good to toss out and not good enough to keep. So, like that. And we got a lot of times we got double some stuff too. So that's our plan for today. So, and a little bit of history. January 22nd, 1973. Supreme Court issued landmark Roe versus Wade decision. So that's a little bit of history trivia. So otherwise, not much more. I think good morning, everybody. So don't be good morning, everybody.
Thank you, Larry, and good morning, everyone. KC9 KMA. Well, I am finishing or starting and not finishing, actually, leftovers from yesterday's little brunch that my friends and I went out to. And I will say the portion is enough for 3 whole meals from one breakfast. But what the public service announcement is a copy from something posted on Facebook, which was try to be mindful this week and go out if we can to help the restaurants make up for the days they needed to take off for the snow and or cold. And I think that's really a good idea. Some of these probably hang on by a thread, so our little bit of business can really be a help to them, and to tip more generously if that is possible. And I thought that was terrific advice. Let alone we're getting 3 meals out of 1 burrito. I mean, give me a break. But, you know, I thought yesterday's games were as interesting to me as the Packer game, and I think that the quarterfinals of so many sports are the better, more interesting games, whether it's tennis or, in this case, football. I don't have a dog in the fight, but they were fun to watch, so that was a cool thing. think that's it. Luke, over to you. Good morning. KC9LOSW. Yeah, you know, it's an aging thing. It's an aging thing. Over to you, Luke. Good morning.
KMA, this is W9LOS. Yes, that is part of the over years package. Good morning to the group. Looking forward to a pleasant day today. Things done around the house and then going in to babysit the grandchild. One of the 11. Let's see, newspapers that I saved. Green Bay Test List and August 12, 2004. And then that very interesting clash of the epic September 12, 2001. Enough said about that. Thank you, Artie, for sharing. And I will turn it over to Damien, AG9NC. This is W9LOS 1000.
Newspapers, I think that you use that. The moon landing is 50 years ago, and most of the people alive today, can't remember it. They may not have been born by then. But I try and teach my grandchildren not to save stamps or coins over newspapers or anything like that. And the funny thing, I say these newspapers, we have these secret satellite launches. It's supposed to be a secret, but we used to have parties with the different companies on the day that there was a big secret launch. So I used to save those newspapers too, because there would be something in it. Saturday was the Christmas party for the M&M Club. I won't tell you all the things we learned about people talking. It was a huge deal, and for the Food Network, the Saturday party was a complete deal in itself. It was wonderful. And then when we left the building, they said they gave us white boxes to take food home because it was family style. And Cynthia only took 3 boxes, and I chewed her out for why didn't you take a 4th one? She was embarrassed by all the food we took home. Anyways, also there was a white elephant presentation, and Cynthia got the last box that was big and heavy due to ARROUND books. And let me cycle this. Another thing in there was a plastic ammunition case properly labeled. There's a box on a transmitter in here. You cannot touch it, and then with all of the rest of the information on the outside. There was an electronic kit, which was a timer for a repeater voice, and it was made, or it wasn't made as a kit. It was not built, it was just a board and a couple of parts from canned gases in El Paso, Texas, is what I was like. Anyway, the gift that Cynthia had given for other people, one of the items was a calendar for homeowners, because it had coupons for the whole year for deals at the homeowners, and you can steal a gift from somebody else, and then other people stole that one. Let's see, it's gone away over the Food Network or something for concrete mixers and converters, and good deal. We didn't have until last night. We put them in the freezer. 89 over to the
newspapers in here over the years, which, a good thing, but it takes me, they stuff out daily about it as much as, don't have newspapers much anymore. And 79 out of years and those, electronic for the computers, so, yeah, we see some various, big events, they don't really, they've got me cleaned up a little bit here, so they'll fill a bottle of here, so, anyway, that's enough of them, I think, so it's a good thing that we're done saving for now, so, that's it for here this morning, just checking in, we'll send that back to you, Jeff, thank you much for the next morning, 89 GPX, this is KNUT. Yeah, you're here. Oh, no, I'm glad we're right. Yep, there at the end. Sorry, this is, got moved off back the link there. But anyway, when you mentioned not quite newspapers anymore, reminded me of a television story. I think it was Friday night, where they got that, the majority of the Sports Illustrated magazine staff had been let go, so that's all the time Sports Illustrated magazine may be holding up, so and things are all changing, and Marty, congratulations on achieving that goal that you had for I forget how many years you said you had been trying to work all state capital. Way to go. You are a goal-driven person, and we can all learn something from that. Okay, right now we'll take a check for anybody else who would like to join us this morning. Check in for this morning. That's please come out. Any of the ECHOLINK stations would like to make a second transmission, please let us know right now. Good morning. Okay, we've got a ECHOLINK wanting a second go, and we picked up Tom, KC9LAZ. But first to Alan, G1A, and then over to Larry, KC9IIT, and Larry, you turn it over to KC9LNZ. Alan, we will have to check our internet news stories and see about those. I think you said the highest winds they've ever recorded in Wales and Scotland. We'll have to check into that. Obviously, your power is on today, so you weren't as severely affected, but anyway, glad you're here with us this morning. So over to Alan, G1AU.
it's got to be, but I suppose it's not out of order. I don't think I stand out of a time at this time on the day, but maybe I did. But when you said I was still coming in, I wasn't, well, I wasn't coming in, and I was thinking, oh, when you had to say, well, anyway, my authority when I messed up in the session. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, I was going to coming down, KBIDIG, Illinois Central, Good Morning America, Good Morning Lovely, how would you do?
Thank you, Alan, DB9DIP. I've only got a hand to report for Richter. But, Alan, when he finished, he just, I didn't hear the repeater noises. You know, the dropping out, the picking up, the drop. I didn't hear any of that. And I didn't have to reboot. I never rebooted ECHOLINK. It was just there. Jeff asked me if I was there. I said yes, and we continued. So, and then during your transmission, Richter, you would drop out occasionally, maybe 3 or 4 times during your transmissions. And that's all I've got. Hello, Alan. You'll walk around over there in Brixton, next to Wales and Scotland. There's a lot of hot air over there anyway, on the West Coast. Okay, back to our friend Thomas. LNZ. Take it away, Thomas.
Thank you, sir. KC9, LN Zulu here. Well, it's 22 right now, according to my thermostat here in Kiwani. A little late. Had to go take the car in to get an oil change this morning at Chevy in Green Bay. Got it all done and got to listen to most of that on the way home. Didn't jump in because I figured I'll probably just not get in very good, but was able to listen to most of it and figured I'd jump in here at the end. So that's been done. Oil changed. They did an inspection, a short one, just to check the car out, but everything else looks good so far. So got another 6,000 or 7,000 miles to go. So that being said, hope everybody's having a good day. Take care out there, and Jeff, thanks for running the net. KC9, LN Zulu. Everybody have a good day. Good morning.
Okay, Tom, thanks. I'm glad you were able to squeeze us into your busy schedule this morning. Let's see, and Alan, I think I heard you with another railroad reference there with the Illinois Central. That reminded me of a trip. I think, either in 8th grade or 9th grade. We had moved from Central Illinois, the Champaign-Urbana home of the University of Illinois. We had moved from there up to a Chicago suburb, and I wanted to go back and visit some of my old friends in Champaign-Urbana. And my parents agreed, but they weren't going to drive me down there. I was going to take the train, and we went into Chicago to catch the train, and I know eventually it was the Illinois Central. I'm not sure it was at the beginning of the trip, but that train stopped at every stop along the way, and I think it was probably a 4-hour train trip from Chicago to Champaign. Seemed like it never ended. Anyway, Okay, we'll open it up for anybody with a new check-in or a comment before we wrap things up. New check-ins or comments, please come out.
W9 OBB.
Hello. Hey, hello.
AG9B. Okay, first will be Rick, W9OBB, then over to Alan, G1AEU, then to Damien, AG9P, and through the miracle of audio in the room, Damien sent it over to my trusty sidekick, KC9KMA. Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for doing the net this morning. Nice job, as usual. And I just wanted to thank Larry, and I just wanted to apologize to Alan. When we had that dropout, whatever caused it, some kind of internet gremlins, I suppose, and maybe the same on my end coming into ECHOLINK, but Larry, thank you very much for clarifying that, because that helped a lot. If you didn't have to log back in, then that did not go through a recycle, because everything's going to come up clean and clear, and then you're going to have to go back and log in if that occurs. So, Alan, my apologies to you, and like I said, I really wasn't paying that much attention. All I know is when it dropped out. It was during Alan's transmission, so really apologize for that. I didn't mean to say that you did time out. I just couldn't think of what else would drop out like that and kick and then the whole Superman 2 screen went blank for a moment, and then everybody started popping back up again. So, well, if we all knew the path that thing had to take going through the internet, we'd probably be shocked, because there's a heck of a lot of stuff between the internet and our ears when it comes to the All-Star link. But that is that. What else did I have? No, I just wanted to thank Larry for passing that along. And and I wanted to mention too this. The family came over from Appleton yesterday. We had a really great time, and then the girls stayed overnight because they didn't have school today. They had a day off of school this Monday, so that was really cool. We had such a good time. We just loved to have those kids come over. And then I had to tell you the little thing that my daughter whispered in my ear as they were leaving. I don't know if the girls were misbehaving or not, but my daughter whispered in my ear and said, "Hey, we're not coming back. We're not coming back to pick them up." And I said, they could have at least left some adoption paperwork or something. But all in good fun. I think, I don't know, they're supposed to come back today and pick them up. That hasn't happened yet. Over to my friend Alan over in England. G1AEU. I'll get it right. This is W9OBB. Good morning to all.
No need for else on the guys. We all radio Amazon, and every one of us has had something exist. Everybody who gets a station on a vessel, event station, weather side, by the time we got the sun to go again, about has gone off the air. So, I've been here radio, it's one of getting most of the time, it's in them, but it's all good. Darling, and as I say, over here, there are worse things that happen at sea. and we're gonna take the world with everybody killing each other left, right, and center. That's it all. I knew we had much children, and they always said no. Well, the fourth ridge with a very famous ridge in Scotland, a wind of 107 miles an hour was recorded. So far, I've been to people drive, and those have came down. Oh, there's this. Anyway, in all this, I was going to my lovely new AB9 DLP, so long as to do with them. Amalgamation Engineering Unit. That's how I used to be called, Amalgamation Engineering Unit. It was a business trade union. Over to Charlie, DLP.
Over to Damien, AG9P.
AG9P, since I can't read newspapers or computer screens, I've always got some audio on in my hearing aids, and I keep reporting to Cynthia the interesting stuff. And one of them yesterday was that all trains were shut down in Scotland, and some of the trains were shut down in England due to the winds. AG9P over to KMA.
Thank you, Damien. Yeah, I can imagine that kind of wind against a horizontal train or truck or what have you would be very problematic. But I think when I think of those regions, I think of big stones, foundations made of, gigantic rock instead of only lumber, as is here in the case. So we would have had catastrophic failures of buildings at 100 miles an hour. And I hope some, not as many were lost over there. But anyway, the reason I called Artie, I think we need a special pause to recognize your achievement. Let alone there are amateurs who go their whole life and never get worked all state. Maybe you'll come back and tell us just how many worked all whatever categories you have. I bet it's 20. I bet it's more than that, because if you count, and you will, the bands and the mode and the years that you have accomplished these things, I can't even imagine. And again, as I say, I got one, worked all states, all bands, just random, and I thought that was a big deal. And I mean, you do that before breakfast, so good for you. Good for you. And Josh, happy that your team, that you wanted one, and I did feel bad for the man, not the boy, the man who was boo-hoo crying, ugly crying on the television. So with that, back to net control, my trusty sidekick.
Break in here before Phyllis kicks in at the top of the hour. Okay, we'll do one final call for check-ins or comments, and then we'll wrap it up before Phyllis.
Just a quick comment. Yeah, Joan, I saw that guy for the Buffalo Bills out in the crowd. He was devastated. And Tom, curious if you're rooting for the Lions. 89 GDA, back to net control.
Comment, Tom?
I've got brothers in Detroit that are rooting for the Lions, and they're probably poo-pooing me right now because the Packers got defeated. But I'm not a big football fan in that sense. I like to watch the games. KC9, Alan Zulu.
Okay, KC9GBX back. Well, I have to say, I kind of am going to be pulling for the Lions because it seems not that long ago, I believe they had a winless season, or maybe they won one game, I don't know. And it wasn't, I think it was maybe within the past 5 years that happened. So they've had a big turnaround there. So good for them. All right, we'll wrap it up for the day and let conversations continue after the net. I want to thank radio station WDOR for housing our equipment and having our antenna way up high on their tower. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Everybody come back tomorrow for another exciting episode of the Good Morning Net. Until then, this is KC9GBX returning the W9DOR repeater to normal amateur use, and thanking you all for participating, participants and listeners, and see you tomorrow, 73 and adios.
Good morning. The time is 9 a.m. Weather conditions: cloudy, temperature 23 degrees.
Jeff, I don't know if you're still out there. I didn't want to keep it on too long to let the weather lady come in there. But since I lived most of my life in Detroit, but then I lived over 11 years in Houston, then a number of years in Connecticut, and now I'm in Wisconsin. I've visited a lot of teams in my lifetime, so, I just like to watch the games at times. KC9, LN Zulu.
KC9GBX here. Yeah, I have become less of a pro football fan over the years. Just kind of dwindled away. And I was just thinking this morning, some of the names that I remember, to give you an indication of the era when I was a big fan. So names like Daryl LaMonica and Len Dawson, Jan Stenerud. Oh, and I can't remember. Oh, the first Bears quarterback name that I ever remember was a guy named Rudy Vukovic. So, yeah, maybe there's some other net listeners hanging on that remember some old, well, it's all relative. Old timer to one person is not that old to another person, but yep, that's where we are right now. KC9GBX listening. Thanks, Tom.
And one added note, I did have season tickets for 1 year in Houston and got to attend all the football games then when I was not working. So that's something I can put in my history book.
And now I was just pondering the former Bear quarterback long ago. I think it was Rudy Vukic, not Vukovic. Rudy Vukic, I think. Maybe someone out there knows. KC9GBX.
Also, Bratkowski. Zeke.
I'll see if I have it here.
The Packers coach just before Vince Lombardi took the job here as general manager coach, Ray Scooter McLean, and his last season in 1958 was
1 win, 10 losses, and 1 tie. And I thought they played 14 games, but they didn't. They played only 12 back then, 1958. No wonder why they replaced Ray Scooter McLean. W9OVB.
If I got it here. I just looked up Rudy Bukic. He tied the NFL record at the time for 13 consecutive pass completions in the 1964 season, and 1 year later he was the second leading passer in the league. So he did set some records, and he passed away in 2016.
Okay, thanks, Tom. I think I stepped on Rick there briefly. Sorry about that. Artie threw out the name Zeke Bratkowski, and I think we've mentioned this story before, but Joan and I were up at our favorite bread store in Egg Harbor, our favorite bakery, and one of the patrons in there happened to be, her name was Cassie Bratkowski. Once we heard her last name, I said, I remember this backup quarterback for the Packers named Zeke Bratkowski. She said, yeah, that was my dad. Okay, we'll see if Artie has a comment to that.
I think that this is KNIWR. I think that at one time the Bears had 3 quarterbacks starting by the name with a B. Over.
Well, that's trivia way beyond my recollection. Rudy was the only one I can remember, but it wouldn't surprise me because even though you say your memory isn't that good anymore, I think it's better than mine. But maybe you know the other 2 besides Bukic.
Well, did Zeke Bratkowski play for the Bears at one time? And as far as memory goes, I've been to over 200 Packer games, and our family still has season tickets that were started in 1958. And I still would like to go to one more Packer game that I can say that I've been to games with every Packer coach. But that probably will never happen. But anyway, it's always nice to remember what happened. And it's funny how a lot of things do repeat themselves. Back to you, Jeff.
Yes, Artie, history does have a way to keep on repeating itself. Back to Zeke Bratkowski, I know his daughter Cassie was telling us Zeke was the backup to Bart Starr, and I don't know the exact number of years, but she did say Bart Starr came over to their house once for either part of a party or just a drop-in. So she got to meet Bart Starr at her house, and she did say, now this was in the days when pro football players were not earning the kind of money they're earning now. So she said her dad, Zeke, sold cars in the off season for make ends meet. Anyway, yeah, times have changed. And again, way to go with worked all-state capital. Even though I don't think the ARRL has any kind of a certificate for that, we should, the club, the Door County Amateur Radio Club should whip up some kind of a certificate for that, because that probably is a harder thing to accomplish than worked all states, because you're narrowing that focus down even more. So again, way to go. And keep it up. KC9GBX.
Commenting again that I did meet Mark Starr at one time at a McDonald's, and we talked a little bit. But the person that I really talked with quite a bit was Bob Skronsky. He was the captain under Lombardi, and he was at Baronet speaking at my son's basketball banquet there, and I sat right next to him, and we had a real good conversation. Over.
Well, it's a name I'm not familiar with, but it sounds like a great football player name. Bob, was it Skronsky or just Skronsky? But a good Polish-sounding name. I bet he was a big guy, too. Back to you, Artie.
I recall really not that big, but when I was in pilot training, in our barracks we had a guy that was a lineman for the University of Pittsburgh, and he also had a Polish name, but at this time I don't remember it. But there we lose track of people because of changing times and going in different directions. But I do remember him, and also when I was at a base in Idaho, we had a fullback from the Packers there, and but I never got to talk to him. Over.
Yeah, you have had numerous encounters with people, and I think that's great. Especially, the Packers have that feeling of availability, since they're sort of a community-owned team. I went into that. I'm not sure exactly how much the community has in the way of influence in what happens with the team, but it does feel like the community really is invested in the team, which is a much different situation than every other professional football or professional sports team. So I think that's great. As a former Illinoisan, and I grew up with the Bears and the Cubs, and yeah, the Chicago Blackhawks, and as Larry, DIP, frequently says, the history of disappointment. Whenever a Chicago team had success, it was a reason for state rejoicing. So think I'm just about out. So we'll send it back to you, Artie, for any more KC9GBX back to KA9WAR.
Well, one of the most interesting people that I talked to was a very short time, but in 1958, my son and I went to the World Series between the Braves and the Yankees, and there was this box on the field, and nobody sitting in there, so we just sat in there, and when Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra and some of those guys come running by, we'd yell at them, and they'd yell back at us. But after a while, here come a number of people, and it was Will Herridge, president of the American League, and we were sitting in his box. So we got out of there, but we did get his autograph, and I think we took his picture there. But the next year we went back, and the next year in 1959 we were at the ball game when the Brewers or the Bucks the Braves beat the Yankees over.
Well, let's see. I wasn't even reading at that point. Maybe I was just barely talking at that point. But the fact that you have memories from that is great. I'm wondering, were you kindly escorted out of the commissioner's box? Or, I mean, it's great that you got to chat with him and take a picture of him. And, well, Joan is asking how old you were, but I'm going to guess, doing quick math, you were probably in your late 30s at that point, maybe? Anyway, back to you, Artie.
Yeah, probably so. But one of the more, I did find out till later that I was in an elevator one time in Idaho, and here was, I was told afterwards, Yehudi Menuhin, world's violinist, was in the same elevator with me, but I was told about it afterwards. Over.
Now that is a name I remember. I don't know if I've ever heard anything by him, but I sure know the name. Let's see. I can't think of any brushes with greatness that I have had. Jones had a few, but boy, I sure don't remember any highlights in my life with brushes like that. Joan and her father got to sit on the side of a Chicago expressway and wave at President Kennedy's motorcade as it drove by sometime in the early 60s. Anyway, thought I had something else in there, but now it's gone. Anyway, okay, back to you, Artie. KA9WAR, KC9GBX.
KA9WAR. Well, in the military at Keesler Field in Mississippi, one time we went and saw a famous golfer there that gave a talk.
And also, I could have walked 2 blocks to see Joe Louis, the world's boxing champion, but I never did. I don't know why I did, but one time when I was in pilot training, a friend of mine from University of Illinois took me over, and we met one of Henry Ford's grandchildren in a different barracks there. So that was interesting. But I've met a number of other interesting people, but I don't want to go into that anymore. But anyway, it's nice to reminisce, Jeff. Over.
Yes, it is, and especially with somebody, I'll say somebody of your age with a lot of reminiscences and still able to recall them quite readily. I think it's just fantastic. Joan and I are constantly saying, boy, we really hope we are able to be like you as we continue in our aging process. We've got a little ways to go to catch up with you, but we sure appreciate your great example. And while I'm at it here, I don't know if John Enigal is still listening to the Good Morning Net, whether Connie turns the radio on for him, but K9HJL, we miss you. I think it's been well over a month, maybe going on closer to 2 months, that we've heard your voice checking in on the Good Morning Net, so we miss you. I think that's about it from me. The only, let me reset real quick, I'll throw a name out to you. Back in high school, so this would have been sometime in the early 70s, at some sports award event, somehow the Chicago suburban high school I was going to was able to get and I think he was still the head coach at Notre Dame football, Parsegian, I don't know how he pronounced his last name exactly. He was the keynote speaker, and I remember he did a great job speaking to our award ceremony, whatever it was. I have no recollection of what the ceremony was for, but I remember Parsegian was there talking to us. Okay, back to you, Artie, for your final.
Listened to a number of different speakers, and one of the most interesting speakers was F. Lee Bailey, the attorney from Boston. This was at EAA, and he certainly was an interesting speaker. Also down there, I met Bob Hoover, the world's greatest pilot, and also I met Bob Boberezny a number of times, and I was at EAA at the dedication of the museum when they put the cornerstone in, and I put an item in the cornerstone box. It was the last item that was put in before it was sealed and put on in the thing there. And also during that time, I spent about 15 minutes with the person who was
the name of the field there. I forget what name was now. Steve Whitman. I talked to him about 15 minutes by his display in the museum. Over.
I wish I were more of an aviation aficionado. Either name. Now, Hoover, I think I've heard you talking with Bruce and maybe some other flying fans on the net about him. The other names I don't recall, but I'm sure, you know, they were probably some of the first, you know, I don't want to call them hot dog flyers, but guys who really knew their way around in the cockpit. So that's not me. I don't know the difference between an aileron and a fuselage. But that's a neat story about being able to put the final item into the cornerstone box. And I would imagine that would never be uncovered until that building was knocked down and they dug up the foundation before building something new. But let's hope that never happens. All right, I'm going to wrap it up, Artie, and we've got stuff that we have to get ready to do in town. And but it's been fun chatting with you, and hope the listeners out there have been enjoying it too. Okay, KC9GBX, sending it back to you, Artie, for your final, and I will be clear.
Yes, enjoyed our visit. This is K9WAR. Good morning.